difference for me between what a conversation and an interview is. When you're having a conversation, it is kind of much more of an intimate setting to me, in terms of you're sharing information, but it's intimately just for the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different to me with an interview. In an interview, as a host, you're setting the platform for your guests to be able to share information so your community can grow. They go from viewers just viewing a conversation to actually being invested in what's being expressed and shared, all the wisdom and nuggets that's coming along with what they're saying. And then they're able to take that and go ahead and apply it to everything that they're doing in life.
Mm-hmm. More conversation tends to be more personal. And it can also be a little bit more on the informal side. Whereas a interview, there's a little more structure, a little bit more formality to it. And there is more like you said, that information giving that you have with an interview. There's a little bit more focus with an interview. You can have focus with a conversation as well, but it's just, to me, the slight differences between the two is that a conversation you can have with pretty much anybody, whereas an interview, it's very much almost like a specialty, like a special event, a special presentation almost.
Yes, a special event, special presentation, because you should be selective with who you have as
That's
a
right.
guest presenting on your platform. It should be in line with your mission, in line with who you are serving.
That's right.
It's very important. It's key. That's how you engage with your audience. Turn them in. They end up turning into your community, so that you end up serving them, and they're willing and able and more than excited to go get in those comments and share, get in your Facebook group and share, and want just to be around other like-minded people.
That's right. That's right. So, keeping that in mind, when you are, at least for you, examples, and you can give examples. So, when you think about direction and the importance of that when it comes to taking that conversation into interview mode, how important is direction? And like, what kind of an example can you give in terms of a moment where you had to kind of sort of make sure that you had the direction down, maybe not necessarily in concrete bullet points or anything like that, but just knowing before you even get to the point of having this conversation, having this interview with this person, you had to have a specific direction to how you wanted the conversation to go overall.
And so that all starts with, it's amazing because we talked last week about talking. So in that talking, you start to figure out what are those directions that this person has, that wisdom, that experience, that life pain to talk through, that education, that financial education investment that they can share with somebody else, so they don't have to make that same big investment, because they can gather that wisdom from that person. So that's where that talking comes with, and then you'll realize, I think I want to have a deeper conversation with this person. Then you get to that conversation, and in that conversation, you really can unveil what they have to share
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
offer and to serve and to just bring somebody else along on the trip, so that they can what, hearing those conversations turn into that interview. With that interview, it shortens your time. It shortens your time if you're listening to what the person is saying. Even an interview, you would think that it's simple, but just talking to how a father raises his daughter, that's something where fathers can learn, daughters can glean from, even mothers, everybody has a dad or a dad figure.
Yeah.
I can say for the most part.
Mhm.
There are always unfortunate situations, so that's not what I'm referring to. So you find in that, I'm just giving an example of a conversation, you
Right.
find those nuggets in talking with somebody, and then you get all the way to that point to, wow, the things that you're sharing about being a dad,
Hmm.
that would be amazing for my community. We can do it from this perspective. Would you mind coming on and sharing? And that's how you get the direction for how that conversation is going to go. And you already know within yourself, wow, this is going to be impactful for my audience.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that, because it's like it feeds right off of what we were talking about from last week when it comes to sometimes you need the talking in order to get to the level of conversation. But then when you start progressing from conversation to interview mode, it's that matter of like, okay, now we are with each other. We're in lockstep to a certain degree. And it's really kind of fleshing out, okay, what's going to work for not only your brand as a guest, but also my platform as a host.
Come
How
on.
do these two things fit together? And how can we maximize the most? How can both of our communities get the most out of this conversation and this interview that we're about to have?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because
Yeah.
that's very important. You want to make sure that you're not just having a conversation where it's just for your kicks and giggles.
Right. Exactly. I like
It
that
can't.
PG-13 version of
It can't just be. It can't just be for your kicks and giggles.
Right,
Nobody
right.
wants to see that. That's not serving anyone. So
No.
always keep in mind the interview should have a purpose of serving in terms of information, getting a glimpse into someone's life, into someone's business, into someone's path to success, into someone's path to pulling themselves up and making it a successful in the path of just understanding peace,
Mhm.
just understanding peace. That I think that's an amazing for my community, Confident You podcast community,
Yeah.
Confident You network. That's an
Mhm.
amazing thing. If I to get a guest to be able to unpack how they didn't have peace,
Right.
how their peace was disturbed, and then come around and admit it was
Yeah.
me. I was giving that thing away. I was letting it go every chance I got.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was throwing it at people. And
Mhm.
now I'm holding it near and dear and I'm not allowing it to go. That to me, to talk with someone who's actually been on a route to that, just that simple topic, to me is something that is helpful to my community.
Yeah.
Confident You.